You are being played right now. In this exact moment, someone is using your honesty against you. They smiled when you confessed your fears. They nodded when you revealed your dreams. They leaned in close when you admitted what keeps you awake at night. And now they own you. You handed them the blueprint to your destruction and called it connection. You mistook their attention for care, their questions for curiosity, their silence for understanding. But they were mapping you, studying your coordinates, identifying which buttons to push, which levers to pull, which words will make you bend. Every vulnerability you exposed became a weapon in their arsenal. Every need you displayed became a chain around your neck. You thought transparency would earn you love. It earned you a leash. Right now, someone knows exactly how to manipulate you because you told them how. You confessed your insecurities, and they filed them away for future use. You showed them what you crave, and they learned to ration it, keeping you hungry, keeping you obedient, keeping you exactly where they want you. This is not paranoia. This is pattern recognition. The world operates on leverage, and you have been giving yours away for free, wrapped in the language of authenticity, decorated with a ribbon of trust. You are bleeding power every time you speak from need instia. Welcome to the Machiavelli Protocol, where we strip away the comfortable lies you have been fed about human nature and replace them with operational truth. I am not here to make you feel good. I am here to make you dangerous. Dangerous to those who would use you. Dangerous to systems designed to extract your compliance. Dangerous to anyone who mistakes your silence for weakness. This channel exists for one purpose: to teach you the mechanics of power that schools will never mention, that therapists will actively discourage, that society has trained you to fear. We study the cold mathematics of influence, the architecture of control, the weaponization of perception. If you came here looking for motivation, you are in the wrong place. Motivation fades. What I offer you is structure, repeatable systems of psychological dominance that function regardless of how you feel. If you are ready to stop being the variable in someone else's equation and become the constant that others must navigate around, then subscribe now. Hit that notification bell, because each video in this series will dismantle one comfortable illusion and replace it with tactical reality. But understand this: once you see how the game actually works, you cannot unsee it. You will recognize manipulation in every commercial, every political speech, every romantic gesture. The world will stop looking moral and start looking mechanical. And that is exactly when you gain the ability to operate it. So the question is not whether you are ready for this knowledge. The question is whether you can handle what you become once you possess it. You are raised in a cult, and you do not even know it. The cult of emotional expression. The cult of radical honesty. The cult that convinced you that showing your wounds makes you brave, that crying in public makes you authentic, that announcing your struggles makes you relatable. They sold you a religion of vulnerability, and you bought it completely. You attended the sermons disguised as TED Talks. You read the scripture hidden in self-help books. You practice the rituals on social media, confessing your pain to strangers, hoping the algorithm would reward your transparency with validation. And it did. For a moment, you got your likes. You got your comments. You got the temporary high of being seen. But what you did not get was power. Because power does not flow toward those who expose everything. It flows toward those who reveal nothing. Every guru who told you to open up was teaching you to disarm. Every influencer who praised your authenticity was training you to be readable. And readable people are controllable people. They told you this was healing. It was not. It was reconnaissance. They were teaching you to volunteer intelligence about yourself so others could use it. Think about what you have shared in the last month, the struggles you posted, the fears you admitted, the hopes you announced. Now imagine someone with bad intentions reading that. Imagine them taking notes. Imagine them building a psychological profile, identifying exactly what you need, exactly what you fear, exactly how to make you comply. You just did their work for them. You handed them a manual on how to operate you, and you called it being real. But here's what they never told you about this vulnerability cult. It only works one way. The people preaching radical honesty are not practicing it themselves. The influencers telling you to share your trauma have teams managing their public image. The therapists encouraging total transparency maintain strict professional boundaries. The corporations selling you authenticity have entire departments dedicated to controlling their narrative. They want you vulnerable while they remain protected. They want you exposed while they stay fortified. They want you readable while they remain encrypted. This is not an accident. This is strategy. The powerful have always understood that vulnerability is a weapon best wielded against others, never against yourself. They know that the person who reveals everything loses negotiating power. They know that emotional transparency is professional suicide in any arena that matters. They know that need is the fastest way to become someone's tool. So they taught you the opposite. They convinced you that strength comes from exposure. They made you believe that power comes from confession. They turned your honesty into their advantage and called it progress. And you fell for it because it felt good in the moment. There is a reason why the most powerful people you have ever observed share one characteristic. They are unreadable. You cannot tell what they are thinking. You cannot predict what they will do next. You cannot identify what they want. This is not accidental. This is design. They have learned what you are about to learn. That mystery is not a personality trait. It is a defense system. The moment someone can predict you, they can preempt you. The moment they can read your emotions, they can trigger them. The moment they understand your needs, they can withhold satisfaction to control your behavior. You have been operating with your source code exposed. Every reaction you have is a line of code someone else can exploit. When you get angry predictably, they know which button controls you. When you seek approval consistently, they know which currency buys you. When you chase affection desperately, they know which bait hooks you. You are not a mystery. You are a vending machine. Insert the right emotional coin, and out comes the desired behavior. And you wonder why you keep ending up in the same situations with different people. It is not bad luck. It is bad operational security. You keep broadcasting your vulnerabilities on an open channel and then acting surprised when predators tune in. The solution is not to become emotionless. Emotions are data, valuable data. The solution is to stop transmitting that data to everyone around you. You need to learn what intelligence agencies have known for centuries. Compartmentalization. Some information is classified. Some reactions are need to know only. Some feelings never leave the secure facility of your own mind. Think of yourself as a fortress. Every wall has a purpose. Every gate has a guard. Every entrance requires clearance. You do not let tourists wander through your armory. You do not give strangers maps to your weak points. You do not broadcast troop movements to potential enemies. Yet this is exactly what you do every time you overshare. Every time you explain your emotional state to people who have not earned that access. Every time you justify your decisions to people who are not invested in your success. Every time you seek validation from people who benefit from your insecurity. You are handing out intelligence to anyone who asks. And some of them are asking because they are gathering data on how to defeat you. Not with weapons. With words. Not with force. With manipulation. Not with violence. With the surgical precision of knowing exactly where you are weak and exactly how to exploit it. Let me tell you what happens when you master this. When you stop showing need, people start projecting onto your silence. They fill the void you create with their own insecurities. They begin to wonder if you even care. They start to question their own value. They move from confidence to uncertainty without you saying a single word. This is the inversion of power. You are no longer chasing their approval. They are now seeking your acknowledgement. You did not have to fight for this position. You simply stopped volunteering weakness. Watch what happens in your next interaction when you do not rush to fill silence, when you do not explain yourself, when you do not apologize for boundaries, when you do not react to provocations, the other person will start to overcompensate. They will talk more, reveal more, try harder, and with every word they speak, they hand you information while you give nothing in return. This is intelligence gathering without interrogation. You become the mirror that reflects their desperation back to them while remaining completely opaque. They cannot read you, so they start reading themselves, and they do not like what they see. Their neediness, their transparency, their predictability. Standing next to your composure, they feel exposed. This discomfort is not cruelty on your part. It is the natural consequence of asymmetry. You have structure. They have chaos. You have discipline. They have reaction. You have strategy. They have impulse. And in every human system, structure dominates chaos. Discipline outlasts reaction. Strategy defeats impulse. You do not need to attack anyone. You simply need to stop being attackable. This is the fundamental shift that changes everything. Most people spend their entire lives trying to be liked, trying to be understood, trying to be accepted. And in that desperate attempt, they make themselves vulnerable to anyone who can fake those things. Someone pretends to understand you, and suddenly you trust them. Someone pretends to accept you, and suddenly you need them. Someone pretends to like you, and suddenly you will do anything to keep that approval. But when you stop needing these things, when you stop seeking external validation, the entire dynamic shifts. You are no longer negotiating from weakness. You are operating from abundance. The abundance of self-sufficiency. The abundance of knowing you will be fine, regardless of who stays or leaves. Here is the test that most people fail. Someone withdraws attention from you. Maybe they stop texting. Maybe they cancel plans. Maybe they go cold without explanation. Your instinct is to pursue, to ask what is wrong, to prove your worth, to fix whatever you think you broke. This instinct is your enemy. It is the trained response of someone who has been conditioned to fear abandonment more than they value self-respect. Every time you chase, you confirm their power over you. Every time you seek explanation, you validate their right to withdraw. Every time you try to win them back, you announce that your stability depends on their presence. You have inverted the hierarchy. You made yourself the petitioner and them the authority. And once that inversion happens, respect dies. They might come back. They might give you attention again. But it will be the attention you give to a pet, not an equal. They will feed you affection in rations, just enough to keep you performing, never enough to satisfy. And you will accept it because you have already demonstrated that you cannot walk away. The correct response to withdrawal is not pursuit. It is matching energy. They go silent, you go silent. They create distance, you create more. They test your dependency, you demonstrate independence. This is not a game, this is recalibration. You are teaching them that your presence is not guaranteed, that your attention is not infinite, that your investment has limits. You are re-establishing that you are not a resource to be managed, but a force to be respected. And here is what happens when you do this correctly. One of two outcomes occurs. Either they come back with renewed respect because they realize you are not desperate, or they disappear completely because they were only interested in someone they could control. Both outcomes are victories. In the first case, you have reset the power dynamic to something healthier. In the second case, you have eliminated someone who is never going to respect you anyway. You lose nothing of value. You only lose the illusion that you had something valuable. And illusions, no matter how comforting, are worthless. They cost you energy to maintain, and they collapse the moment reality tests them. Better to destroy your illusions deliberately than to have them destroyed for you. Most people confuse this with playing hard to get. It is not. Playing hard to get is performance. It is pretending you do not care while desperately hoping they notice. What I am teaching you is actual detachment. The kind that does not need them to chase because you are genuinely focused elsewhere. The kind that does not check if they are watching because you are building something that matters more. The kind that does not collapse when they leave because your foundation was never built on their presence. This is the difference between tactics and transformation. Tactics are what you do. Transformation is what you become. You can use tactical silence to manipulate a specific outcome. But if your core is still desperate, that desperation will leak. It will show in your timing, in your tone, in the subtle ways you engineer situations to seem accidental. Real power is not performed. It is embodied. When you genuinely do not need external validation to feel stable, your entire energy shifts. People feel it even if they cannot name it. You stop trying to convince, and you start simply existing at a frequency that either resonates or does not. You stop negotiating your value, and you start assuming it. This assumption is not arrogance. Arrogance is insecurity, pretending to be confidence. What I am describing is the quiet certainty that comes from self-sufficiency. You know you will be fine, regardless of who stays or leaves. You know your worth is not determined by who recognizes it. You know that you are the only approval you actually need. And paradoxically, this is when others start seeking yours. Because humans are wired to pursue what retreats, and to retreat from what pursues. The person who needs nothing becomes infinitely more interesting than the person who needs everything. The person who can walk away has more power than the person who must stay. The person who is complete alone becomes magnetic to others. This is not a trick. This is human psychology operating at its most fundamental level. We are attracted to strength. We are repelled by weakness. We respect boundaries. We exploit their absence. We value what is scarce. We dismiss what is abundant. Now let me address the fear that is rising in you right now. You are thinking this sounds lonely. You are thinking this sounds cold. You are thinking that if you follow this path, you will end up isolated. Good. Let that fear surface because we need to kill it. Loneliness is not the absence of people. Loneliness is the presence of people who do not respect you. You can be surrounded by friends, family, lovers, and still feel completely alone if those connections are built on your performance rather than your person. If you have to constantly prove your worth, you are not connected. You are auditioning. If you have to suppress your boundaries to keep people around, you are not loved. You are tolerated. If you have to chase to maintain relationships, you are not valued. You are convenient. The loneliness you fear from implementing these principles is actually liberation from false connection. Yes, some people will leave when you stop being easy to control. Let them. They were never there for you. They were there for the version of you that served their needs. When you establish boundaries, you will lose quantity, but you will gain quality. The people who remain will be the ones who respect strength, who value reciprocity, who understand that real connection happens between equals, not between a performer and an audience. These are your people, few but loyal, rare but real, and one genuine alliance is worth more than 1,000 shallow associations. You are not becoming cold, you are becoming selective. You are not becoming heartless. You are becoming strategic about where you invest your heart. Because your heart is not an infinite resource. Your emotional energy is limited. Your capacity for trust is finite. And you have been spending these precious resources on people who do not deserve them. On people who take without giving. On people who demand without reciprocating. On people who consume your energy and offer nothing in return except the bare minimum required to keep you engaged. This ends now. From this moment forward, you operate as someone who understands that connection is earned, not given freely to anyone who asks. Here is your operational framework moving forward. Every interaction is now evaluated through one filter. Does this exchange increase or decrease my power? Power in this context is not domination. It is autonomy. The ability to choose without coercion. The freedom to walk away without collapse. The strength to stand alone without breaking. Every time you reveal need, you decrease autonomy. Every time you chase validation, you surrender choice. Every time you react emotionally, you give someone else your remote control. So you stop. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop proving your worth to people who are invested in devaluing you. You stop chasing people who have demonstrated they do not prioritize you. This is not bitterness. This is resource management. Your time is finite. Your energy is limited. Your attention is valuable. You do not spend these currencies on people who do not reciprocate. You invest them where they generate return. And return is measured in respect, in reciprocity, in peace. From this moment, you operate as a closed system. Information flows out only when strategically advantageous. Emotion displays only when it serves a purpose. Vulnerability reveals only to those who have earned access through consistent respect. Everyone else gets the public version. Polite, professional, impenetrable. They will call this fake. It is not. It is boundaries. They will call this walls. It is not. It is discernment. They will call this trust issues. It is not. It is pattern recognition. You are not damaged. You are awake. You have simply stopped pretending that everyone deserves access to your inner world. You have stopped believing that openness is always virtuous. You have stopped confusing emotional exhibitionism with authenticity. Real authenticity is selective. It reveals itself to those who have proven they can handle it with care. To everyone else, it remains hidden. Not because you are dishonest, but because you are strategic. Not because you are cold, but because you are wise. Not because you have trust issues, but because you have learned that trust is something earned through consistent behavior over time, not granted freely to anyone who smiles at you. So here is your final briefing before you step into this new operational mode. You will be tested. People who benefited from your old patterns will resist your new ones. They will accuse you of changing. They will guilt you for having boundaries. They will punish you with withdrawal to see if you break. Do not break. Every test you pass makes you stronger. Every boundary you maintain trains people how to treat you. Every time you choose self-respect over approval, you build the kind of power that cannot be taken from you. You will also be tempted to revert. There will be moments when staying silent feels impossible, when not chasing feels like losing, when maintaining composure feels like dying inside. In those moments, remember this. Temporary discomfort is the price of permanent power. The pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of being perpetually disrespected. You are not losing anything real by implementing these principles. You are losing illusions. And illusions, no matter how comfortable, will always eventually collapse. Better to demolish them yourself on your terms than to have reality demolish them on its schedule. This is the Machiavelli Protocol. Not a philosophy of cruelty, but a system of self-sovereignty. You are no longer participating in the emotional marketplace, where your worth is determined by popular vote. You are establishing yourself as the standard that others either meet or fail to access. Subscribe if you are ready to continue this training. Share this if you know someone who needs to hear it. And remember, the world does not reward the most honest. It rewards the most strategic. Never show need. Always show strength. And watch how quickly the game changes when you stop playing by their rules. Now go and reclaim your power. If you're ready to take these strategies beyond theory, check the pinned comment. The link I left there is the next step to becoming truly untouchable.